It began with a bark, a sharp, relentless echo that refused to be silenced. And in that bark, buried beneath layers of dirt and decades of silence, was the answer to a mystery that had haunted an entire town for half a century. Deputy Hannah Morales didn't know why she felt drawn to Cain the moment they brought him in. He was older than the average police canine, a sturdy German shepherd with streaks of silver around his snout and a pair of amber eyes that seemed far too aware. Retired from active duty 2 years prior, Cain had been passed around foster homes, overlooked again and again, until the department decided to give him one last shot under Hannah's care. What no one knew then was that Cain wasn't done serving justice, not by a long shot. Hannah was new to the county. Having transferred from a bustling city precinct to the sleepy town of Willow Creek, she expected her days to be filled with traffic stops and maybe the occasional petty theft. When she took Cain home, he was quiet and obedient, but there was a weight in his demeanor. It was as though he carried a burden no one could see. Their bond formed quickly. Hannah, who had lost her husband 2 years earlier in a hit-and-run that remained unsolved, found comfort in Cain's quiet companionship. They healed in tandem until the day everything changed. It was a crisp fall morning when Cain began barking uncontrollably during their walk by the old Oak Ridge Trail. He pulled violently against his leash, refusing to move away from a weathered section of forest. His ears were perked, body tense. And he kept barking. "Easy, buddy," Hannah muttered, trying to tug him back. But Cain dug in, staring at the dense underbrush like it held something sacred or dangerous. After 15 minutes of refusal to budge, Hannah gave in. She followed his lead into the brush, deeper and deeper into the woods. Then Cain stopped, sniffed the ground, and began to dig. What he uncovered would change everything. Buried beneath the roots of a maple tree was a tattered piece of denim. And under that, bone. Human bone. Hannah radioed it in immediately. The site was cordoned off within hours, and the forensics team confirmed it was a shallow grave. The skeleton belonged to a teenage girl. Time of death? Approximately 50 years ago. The town buzzed with speculation. And then someone mentioned her name, Lena Brighton. In 1975, Lena was 17 and had vanished on her way home from a football game. Rumors swirled for years. She'd run away, joined a commune, maybe even eloped with a teacher. Her disappearance had faded into myth, a dusty file in the back of the sheriff's office. Until now. Cain had found her. But how? And more importantly, why? Hannah couldn't sleep that night. She stared at the old case file, the grainy photo of Lena's soft smile and distant eyes. Cain sat by the door, still alert, as though waiting for someone or something. The next day, Cain barked again as they passed the Oak Ridge Trail. This time, he led Hannah not to the burial site, but to the edge of a dried creek bed nearby. He circled, sniffed, and again started digging. Another discovery. This time, an old locket. Inside was a faded photograph of Lena and another girl unidentified. Back at the station, Hannah poured through yearbooks and newspaper clippings. She found a match. The girl was Callie Duvall, Lena's best friend. Callie had moved away shortly after Lena vanished, claiming her family needed a fresh start. But Hannah had a gut feeling it wasn't the whole story. She tracked down Callie, now living 3 towns over and retired from her teaching job. At first, the woman denied everything. But then Cain barked once, sharp and jarring, during the interview. Callie froze. "I always knew it would come back," she whispered, her voice shaking. "I've kept it in too long." Callie's story spilled out like an unraveling thread. That night in 1975, Lena had confronted someone in the woods, Sheriff Walter Green, Willow Creek's former and most beloved lawman. Lena had caught him harassing another girl, and she threatened to go public. In a rage, he attacked her. Callie had watched from behind the trees, too afraid to intervene. Sheriff Green had used his power to cover it up. Lena was listed as a runaway. The case was closed within days. Callie had tried to tell someone once, years later. But the threats came quickly and quietly. Her mailbox smashed, tires slashed. She left town, believing it was the only way to survive. Now, with Green long dead and the truth buried for decades, it was Kane who had unearthed it, not just the grave, but the guilt. With Lena's remains identified and the truth revealed, Willow Creek held a memorial at the town square. Dozens showed up, some who had known her, others who only knew the legend. Hannah stood beside Kane, her hand resting gently on his back. Local papers hailed him as a hero. Canine dog solves 50-year-old cold case, read the headlines. But for Hannah, it was more than a case. It was closure for Lena, for Callie, and even for herself. Because in Kane's determination, his refusal to stop barking, Hannah found a lesson: sometimes the truth waits. But it never disappears. And when someone refuses to stay silent, justice can still rise from the silence. Kane passed away 6 months later, lying peacefully under the same maple tree where he'd uncovered Lena's secret. Hannah buried him there, planting a small plaque that read, "For the one who never stopped barking. May your voice forever echo in the fight for truth." To all of you watching this on Positive Tales, thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If Kane's story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. There are more inspiring animal heroes out there, and we're here to tell their stories. Drop a comment below if you've ever known a dog who changed your life. Or simply write "Thank you, Kane," to honor this incredible soul who reminded us all, sometimes, the smallest voice can carry the loudest truth. Until next time, stay kind, stay positive, and never stop listening.